Un segundo. Alright, so aquí está el passage.
Ok,
Alright, cuando estés listo.
ok. Voy a sacar voy a abrir un Word para mis apuntes.
Sí.
Modern debate on wind power. Wind has been used as a share of power for millennia. In the past, wind was used to assist in agriculture activities, and even today, some small communities continue to use wind power to pump water and grain. Wind was also harnessed by early civilization to power their boats. This was responsible for greatly increasing the growth of human civilization by allowing greater trading opportunity. More recently, the application of wind power to energy generation has been thought as the potential clean alternative to other forms of energy generation. However, there is a debate as to whether the use of wind-based energy will become a viable alternative to current methods of generating energy. The turbines that make up wind farms have a simple design relative to a form of energy generation. This turbine converts kinetics energy into mechanical energy using three blades attached to a rotor, which rotate the magnets of the generator. The result electricity can then be transmitted through cables to an electric grid that can disseminate the power to user. One reason for the appeal of wind farm is that after they are set up. mm, the cost of running and maintaining them is minimal, owing to their simple design. Debates on one of the use of wind power can broadly be divided into global and local viewpoints. The global viewpoints is primarily related to the potential of wind-based energy generation on an international scale. For advocates, climate change is an important issue. They believe that wind power is one component of a holistic approach to battling climate change. Technological innovation, moreover, tends to see increase in efficiency and decrease in cost after their introduction and gradual adoption. Proponents accept a similar trend to apply to mm, technical
Sí,
innovation, moreover, okay, apply to wind turbines and arch that is justify the further large scale development and promotion of the technology. Finally, advocates on the global scale emphasis that is a comparison to the highest cost of installation. The cost of running wind farms after war is negligible. However, arguments from the global viewpoints have also been made against the use of wind power. The strongest of these opposes adoption of economic ground. Critics question whether having governments subside what is currently a relative inefficiency and more expensive alternative energy source in some policy. They urge that this money could better be spent on expanding currently exciting energy sources that boast higher efficiency and lower costs. Example of alternative energy source include nuclear power, while example of high efficient and lower cost traditional energy source include coal and shale oil. In addition, they are urged mm, uh, they urge in the international environment conversation there are other potential energy sources that deserve equal attention, such as solar and geothermal power. In contrast to the global viewpoint, the local viewpoint focused on the wind turbines effects on the immediately surrounding her. Here supporters urge that the installation of wind turbines can benefit communities. For instance, municipalities in some parts of the United States have been able to receive a stipend for allowing wind turbines to be built on their land. Some of these communities also benefit by paying a reduced cost for electricity. Those that urge from the local viewpoint against the exploitation of wind power usually focus on the potential unintended environmental consequence of wind farms and the social burn place or rural community. For instance, species of bird and bat have been negatively impacted by the installation of wind turbines, which can kill creators that venture too near the turning blades. B. Recent arguments have also been made that the wind farm can affect crop yield by changing the local temperature. If true, they urge it is likely to become a pressing issue if more wind power is adopted. Additionally, research found that citizens living in communities where wind turbines have been installed complain about the intrusiveness of their appearance. Those in this community who rely on tourists could see their livelihood impacted by this large turbine changing the local scenery. Finally, some have highlighted that residents in large cities benefit from the installation of wind farms while being insulated geographically from the downside. Given the importance of the local community cooperation for large-scale construction of the new technology. This resistance may prevent advocates of wind power from seeing their dreams realized in the near future.
Right. So in notes,
Yeah. So, okay, so according to the paragraph 1, which of the following is true of the historical use of wind power? It was being harnessed and energy so for most all human history. It is responsible for creating civilization first training opportunity. It was discovered only after human civilization expanded due to trade. It has lost all of its usefulness due to recent development. The first one.
okay. Right. Excellent.
The word designed in paragraph 2 is close in meaning to the resultant electricity can then be transmitted through cables to an electric grid that can be disseminate the power to user. One reason for the appeal of wind farms is that after they are set up, the cost of running and maintaining owing their simple design. The word disseminate distribute. The the last one.
Distribute. Okay.
According to paragraph 2, wind turbines are attractive because they require little transportation of material. They are relatively affordable to keep in operation. The height decrease in size and complexity. They are constructed from inexpensive material. Mm, According to paragraph, the turbines that make wind farms have been simple design relative to the turbine converts kinetic energy into magnetic energy using three blades attached to a rotor which rotates the magnetic energy. So the electricity can be there. They require little transportation of material. No, they are relatively affordable to keep in operation. Mm, mm, the wind turbines are attractive because they have decrease in size and complexity. The third one.
Okay.
La segunda.
Mm.
They are relatively affordable to keep in operation. Okay.
See how that turned out.
The word attractive is the key to finding the answer in this text. And if we go through this paragraph, the first time we see something about the benefits or why it is attractive to have a wind farm is at the very end of the paragraph in this sentence when you see the word appeal. The appeal is the attraction. It is why people want it. So this says that one reason for the appeal, one reason people want wind farms, is that after they are set up, the cost of running and maintaining them is minimal owing to their simple design. So the cost is low and they are simple, and that makes it attractive. And if we look at our answer choices, we see relatively affordable, and affordable means cheap, so that is a low cost. That is right. They can be kept in operation, meaning they are kept running. They continue running. They keep working. They don't stop. They don't break. And it's very cheap to keep them from breaking. So they don't break. They're relatively affordable. B is the answer. A, they require little transportation of material is wrong because of this transportation of material. The sentence says nothing about moving material. For example, moving metal, moving wood, moving the pieces of the turbines. There is no information about that, only about how they make electricity and maintaining them. So transportation of material is wrong. C is also incorrect because of this, decreased in size. So this means they became smaller. But that is not in the text. Again, we only have that they are cheap. They decreased in price, maybe. Actually, we don't know that anything went down. We only know that it is low. We don't know that it was higher before, and certainly not that it was larger, so decreased in size is wrong. D, they are constructed from inexpensive materials. And at this point you might think, wait, we don't know what they are made of. How are they constructed? We know that a little bit, but what they are constructed from, the materials, is not in the text. Inexpensive is tempting because we do know that the cost is minimal, but this is about running and maintaining. It is not about the materials, the metal, the wood, the plastic. B is the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, now for this question.
Which of the following best express the essential information in the highlighted sentence in paragraph 3? Incorrect answer choice that change the meaning in important or leave out essential information. Technical innovation, moreover, tend to see increase in efficiency and decrease in cost after their introduction and gradual adoption. The passage of time is likely to have a net negative effect on the merit of technology in terms of cost and efficiency. The introduction and adoption of technology occurs once increase in efficiency and decrease in cost have taken place. The passage of time likely increase the merit of the technology in terms of cost and efficiency. The introduction and adoption of a technology is dependent on the time the technology has been in development. Mm, at the end of the lower point, the introduction and adoption of a technology is depends on one of the last one.
Okay. Oh, okay, so we're close.
The passage of time likely increased the merits of a technology in terms of cost and efficiency. Okay.
Let's take a look at the highlighted sentence and see the main ideas here. Now, the word moreover might catch you because we should always pay attention to transitions like this, but this only means it's more information. It's more information similar to this information, but it's not really related to this closely. It's just separate information that comes next. Let's look at our subject and verb. Our subject is technological innovations, and innovations are new developments. That is something new that happens. It's like an invention, except invention is specifically an object, like a computer. The computer was invented in the 1960s, but actually it was invented before that. Doesn't matter. But innovations are not necessarily objects. They might be some other system or some other type of thinking that is not a physical thing. It's not an object, but an idea, possibly, can be an innovation. Okay, so these innovations tend to see. Here's our verb. Our main verb is tend, but this tend to is not really an important, meaningful verb. It just means usually. We need to look at this verb, see, and specifically see increases and decreases to get the real meaning. So these are our key words here. These innovations, increases in efficiency, and decreases in cost. So because of the innovations, there are increases and things become more efficient, and they become less expensive. And that is in answer choice C. Now, notice there's only the word increases here, nothing about decreases, but it is increasing the merits, and merits are the benefits, the good things. And both in innovation, a increase in efficiency is a good thing, and a decrease in cost is a good thing. So this decrease in cost is an increase in merit. So that makes sense. They're both good. Increase in merit is good. Decrease in cost is good. So time means that the merits increase in terms of cost and efficiency. And that's right. This new technology improves. C is the answer. A, the passage of time is likely to have a net negative effect. So this means it's bad. But our text said that it is good. Increases in efficiency are good things, and decreases in cost are good things. A is wrong because it's negative. It's the opposite of the text. B, the introduction and adoption of technology occurs once increases in efficiency have taken place. And this once here is similar to when, or really after. I can write that a little bit neater. Let's do that again. When or after. And this means that the decreases and increases already happened. Notice this perfect tense here. Perfect means that it came before the other verb, that it happened first. So this happened first, and then after that, it was adopted and introduced. That is the opposite of the truth. In reality, the text says that the technological innovations happen after the introduction. So B has the wrong order of events. D, the introduction and adoption of a technology looks good, is dependent on the time the technology has been in development. So how long the technology was developing. This sentence says nothing about how long it was developing. It only says what happens after it was developed, after it was introduced. So D is incorrect because of that phrase. And again, C is the answer.
Yes, where That's where you hit you know, the specific
Yes,
time or
laughter.
hmm yeah.
Paragraph 3 implies that advocates of wind power would agree with which of the following statements about wind farms. Mm, wind power would agree with which the following statement about wind farms.
Mhm.
Mm, mhm. To the high cost of installation. What is the meaning of after war?
After war, after they were, or
After, after war.
¿en cuál está? En...
The cost of running wind farm after war is negligible.
Oh, afterward. Después de que, hasta después de que se hizo eso. After, como, al final, al final de cuentas, se puede decir. Afterward.
Um, they could contribute to solving a pressure issue while making economic sense. They are currently extremely efficient and require little technological improvement. Mm, wind farms. The last one, they are currently extremely efficient and require little technological improvement. And they could contribute to solving a pressure issue. Or the first one. How am I facing a trying to apply to me? Um, mm, oh, I haven't. I don't know if the last one or the first one. Mm, the last one. The last one. So, have to choice. Entre las dos esa. Ah,
Oh, so what was the first one? They could contribute to solving a pressing issue while also making
yeah.
economic sense.
I don't estaba tan seguro. Y the last one of the first one.
Yeah, let's see
Pero estaba
what.
entre esas dos.
Mm,
The key word here is advocates, and advocates are people who agree with something and say it is a good thing and try to spread the word, try to tell other people that it is a good thing also. So advocates of wind power, then, they agree with wind power, they support it. They are supporters. And we see in the text a few things about advocates, starting here. For advocates, climate change is an important issue. So we have climate change for one. And then we have, moreover, these technological innovations. And then we have a third detail down here with, finally, advocates also care about the high cost of installation, but the low cost of running it, the negligible cost of running it. Negligible means you can ignore it because it is so small. You can neglect it. It is not important. Okay, so those are three details from advocates. And in our answer choices, we're going to have one of them, at least one. And if we look at A, it does match. They could contribute to solving a pressing issue. What pressing issue? Well, that is a battle against climate change. So they can help to solve. That is one part, one component in solving climate change, in battling climate change. So that makes sense with the pressing issue. And economic sense means that it is good money spent, and if it's economic sense, it must be pretty cheap, and that is true here with decreases in cost, and the cost of running is negligible, so it is economically sensible. Yes, A is our answer. B, they would reverse the negative effect of climate change. This is too strong, because reversing the negative effect is very different from simply battling. And our text only said that we are battling climate change. It did not say that we are reversing the effects, that is, fixing all of the previous problems. Maybe it's battling climate change by slowing climate change. That's not the same as reversing climate change. So there are other ways that this sentence could be interpreted in the text. We do not necessarily mean that it reverses climate change. C, they have no substantial financial impact associated with their construction. So a substantial financial impact. Substantial means it's big, it's noticeable, and financial impact is the cost. So when you construct them, when you build them, there is no big cost. That sounds almost right because there are these decreases in cost, the cost is negligible, but what about the installation here? This is the beginning of creating a wind farm. And that actually has a high cost. The installation is expensive. So this construction, the installation, does have a substantial financial impact. So this word no causes a problem. C is the opposite of the text. D, they are currently extremely efficient. Keyword here is currently, that means now, and require little improvement. Our text actually says that they will increase in efficiency, not that they are already efficient now. So our answer choice D is too strong. Again, this is not in the text because the idea that it's extremely efficient now doesn't match. A is the correct answer.
So for the verb of currently, because
Mm-hmm.
currently is noun, no?
Yes. Yes. So that's where you got maybe name the the answer showed what it was trying to share, trying to show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
be careful with those words. One word can change the whole sentence
Yes.
meaning. Whole
I
sentence
see.
meaning.
I see. I see.
All right.
According to paragraph 4, which of the following is true of the critics on wind-based energy? However, argument from the lower viewpoint have been also been made against the use of wind power. The stronger of these oppose adoption of economic ground, critics question whether having government subside with are currently a relative inefficient and more expensive alternative energy short in some policy. The urge that is the money could better be spent on expanding currently existing energy
Okay.
energy source that will both higher efficiency and low cost. So, according to the para 4, which of the following is true of the critics in wind base? They disagree with the location found toward wind power. They emphasize the low cost to efficiency ratio on wind power. They urge that funds should only be allocated to existing source of energy. They are that what is the meaning of funds? Funds?
Funds, como lo la cantidad de fondos.
Cantidad de fondo?
Sí. Funds.
Or arguments from the weapon have been made against use. Economic grounds. Critics question where having government subsidy was it currently a relative inefficient and more expensive alternative energy source is some police. They urge that this money could better be spent on expanding currently existing energy, the both higher efficiency and lost cost. Mm, they urge that wind power is a field experience that should be discouraged. The first one, they disagree with the location of funds tower wind power.
Okay.
Mm,
All right. Very good.
according to paragraph 4, wind power face oppositions based on all the following group except. According to paragraph 4, wind power face opposition base of all of the following ground except
Right. The key word is except, right?
right. Except the effect of climate change and the cost of the alternative, the cost of the government, the third one, the cost of the cost to the government. Excepto is a no. Except the keyword is except.
Yes.
So wind power face opposition base. Excepto. The first one, the effect of climate change.
Yeah. Very good. Accept that, right?
Yes. The word lively. Those on this community who rely on tourism could see their livelihood impacted by this large turbine change the local scenario. Mm, lifestyle.
Case of
Income.
income.
Those this community who rely on tourism could see their income impacted by this large turbine change in the local scenario.
You might first notice the word live inside the word livelihood, and actually you might see the word lively, which means something that's very active. But that doesn't really give a very good clue about entertainment, surroundings, income, lifestyle. Lifestyle looks good because they are both about life, but life is very big, right? There are a lot of things in life. So maybe it refers to something else here. And if we look at our text for more context, for more information, we can get a better idea about what this means. Because those in the communities could see their livelihood impacted. So who are first those? We need to know these communities. That refers to the previous sentence. That's citizens living in communities where wind turbines have been installed. So people who live where the wind turbines were created. Those people in those communities, in the places where the turbines are, they could see their livelihood impacted. Well, if we don't know what livelihood means, that doesn't really help much. They could see something impacted. So the important thing to note here is this: who rely on tourism. Now notice these people are not tourists. They live in those communities. If people live in a community where there is tourism, why do they care about local turbines changing the scenery? Well, let's think about this. Tourists go places because they are fun, because of many reasons, really, but often because they are pretty, because it's somewhere new and beautiful. But these turbines are going to change the scenery and maybe make it less beautiful. So tourists maybe don't go. If it changes the tourism, if that tourism is impacted, then what is the effect on the people who live in the community where the turbines and where the tourism are? If tourists don't come because the scenery has changed, then that means the people who live in the community don't receive the money from the tourists, right? Some cities that get many tourists and some towns, some areas that get many tourists need the tourists for money. And those people in the communities who rely on the tourism, they could see an impact on their money. Livelihood is the money you make. It is the money that you use to live your life. And sometimes it refers more specifically to the job you do in order to get the money that you can spend on your life. And that is the same as income in a way. Income is money that you get every month from doing your job. Livelihood is your job, or how you get the money and what the money is. So C matches well. A, entertainment, does not make sense because these people do not want entertainment. They want the turbines gone so that the tourists can come and get entertainment. But these people already live there. They do not seek the entertainment. They just want the tourists. B is tempting because the surroundings would be impacted, but that misses the point of these tourists. It doesn't have the that same importance, because just saying that the scenery is impacted isn't related to this relying on tourism, not very closely at least. It would be a little bit redundant too. It would be repetitive, because saying that the surroundings would be impacted by the turbines changing the surroundings, the scenery is the surroundings, is meaningless, right? It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say why this is important. Okay, and finally, D, lifestyle, looks good because it has that same live, but your lifestyle is like what you do, your hobbies and how you spend your money. It is what you do with your income, what you do with your livelihood. It is not the same as the money itself. So it's a little bit removed from the meaning of livelihood and income, which is the correct answer, C.
Right, so it got confusing with the word live, life, right?
Hmm.
But we were aiming towards what they were looking for to do with, the change, or what would impact. Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we have time for one more question. Yeah.
The last
Out
question.
of out of the text.
Look at the first square in paragraph 6 that indicate where the following sentence could be able adds to the passage. Although environmental concerns are usually seen as support for wind-based energy, they can be varied local consequences. For instance, species of bird baits have been negative impact for installation wind turbine. Great adventure to near the turbine blade. Recent arguments have also been made that when wind farms can affect crow yield by changing the local temperature. If true, the arch it is likely to become a pressing issue if more wind power is adopted. Additionally, research found that citizens living in communities where wind turbines have been installed complain of their appearance. Letter D?
Okay, best fit there.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is it?
All right, it was actually A.
Right.
Best fit there.
Space of beer and bad have been negatively impacted by the installation of wind turbine. Porque si se los pájaros.
The word although might look like the keyword here, but it is less important, really, than the word varied, because these varied local consequences, this part of the sentence is so general. If we want to talk about varied local consequences, then we might talk more about the specific consequences later. Simply saying there are many different consequences, and that is what varied means, there are many different. If there are many different consequences, then what are the consequences? What are the different consequences? It leaves a question here that we want to answer. So this probably comes either before or after some explanation of what those local consequences are. And that's definitely true if we look at paragraph 6. Almost the whole paragraph is about specific local problems. The birds and bats, the local temperature changes, the intrusiveness of the appearance, and also so that's the local scenery is the same. The impact of the livelihood because tourism is affected. These are all specific problems. And notice that all these specifics come here and later. So probably our answer would be A, because it comes before the specifics. This is all specific, and we might have a general statement first before the specifics. So let's try plugging that in. Although environmental concerns are usually seen as support for wind-based energy, there can be very local consequences. For instance, species of birds and bats have been negatively impacted. Notice this, for instance, connects very well to there can be local consequences. It is an example of the local consequences. So this, for instance, makes a lot of sense here. It also made some sense connected to here because the potential environmental consequences make sense with the birds and bats. But if we put this sentence in the middle, it still works. It still matches. And this serves as a great introduction to those specific problems. So A works very well. And also notice that although environmental concerns are usually seen as support, makes a nice contrast with the potential unintended environmental consequences. So we see environmental here, and then although continuing on the same topic, environmental problems, and it is contrasted because it's usually support, but in this case it is people who argue against the adoption of wind power. So this contrast works well with the against and support of although. Now, let's look at the other possibilities. B has an example of how the birds and bats in the local environment are affected, not infected. And this part afterwards also has an example. So surrounding this general by a specific detail and a specific detail doesn't really make sense. This should be first, and then the examples are given after. The same problem is here, and actually here too. And these ones, C and D, are even more problematic because the environmental concerns are really at the top, whereas down here we start talking about the citizens living in communities and the social impacts, not the environmental impacts. So we want A to be our answer, again, because this gives us the general before the specifics. So our correct answer is A.
All right, so that's where it was directed to. So see the maybe the keywords and the what is trying to identify what is talking about, which one will be best fit. Right? But you did good today. It was good. It was good practice.
Okay.
Um, well, we'll continue with that as well tomorrow. Um, could you tomorrow? Can you try maybe um 'cause I have something to do tomorrow. I might not be able to, but I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay.
Might not be able to do the class at that no at the at the right at the